Hallelujah. Wonderful God we serve. We are here in the Dimensions Church here in Durban, South Africa. And we arrived yesterday, tired, but God is doing a great thing here. We just had a wonderful pastor's meeting. And I have to say that every time we come here, we always meet people we connect with. And today, I'm so excited to meet Pastor Reddy. Pastor, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Pastor.
Look, you told me certain things that has really excited my spirit. Say, oh, God is alive. Tell me your testimony about how the Lord touched you.
Well, Pastor, it's been a long time now. 25th November 1978, close on 40 years already. And I was a street kid, around 13, and full of alcohol and drugs, and peddling, doing all sorts of things. You know, when you in the underworld, and at that age you are lost, you see. And then I married. Well, actually it was sort of a elope and so on. And but then God has been good to me in a sense that He knows all of us long before we were formed.
Yes.
And saying that, I had a wonderful wife who was very submissive and all, but for 8 years she has been tormented me, running gambling clubs and selling alcohol and doing everything what a naughty person is doing. And then on a day, on a 26th of November 1978, it was a day that I went to church because I saw my wife going on the Wednesday, waiting for me to come from the afternoon. I went to the church on the Wednesday as well with a half a bottle cane in me. I was having a drink and everything in the back when my neighbor witnessed to us, and we said, okay, we'll give it a try. And that was on the Wednesday. And when I got back home, I started back the same nonsense, and I got locked up again on that Saturday, only to be released about 2 in the morning on Sunday. That is the 25th now, and then the 26th November. And when I was released, I just felt like I don't want to go to sleep. I'm looking forward to go to church. And I put on a tie, with a bust lip because I was hit with a battle of a gun. It was a brawl, and the police came and took us and all that. And by God's grace, somehow He wanted me in church more than He wanted me in prison.
Yes.
So He released me there, and the next morning I went to church. So I was this time I went without any alcohol and everything. And I even went right to the altar, and I knelt down myself, and I just, few words of mine, and said to the Lord, here am I. When I got back after church, I had a gambling school by the shop, behind the shop. Notorious characters used to come to gamble. So that shop I used to take tobacco and help myself whatever I wanted. So this particular day I went and took a packet of cigarettes, and I'm walking up the hill to come back home to have some lunch. I hear a voice calling me, Dan, what's in your hand? And you just came to pray to me. And what's in your hand? So I heard this conversation now, and I'm walking up that hill still with this thing thundering in me.
Yes.
And I met a distant relative of mine. He used to smoke cigarettes as well, so I gave it to him. When I gave him that packet of cigarettes, he doubted that I was giving him because I was a troublesome character, always wanting rather than giving.
Yeah.
So he kept running home about 3 times. To my wife, he said, please, I don't want to have trouble with Dan. Give him back the cigarettes. Then I'm shouting from inside, no, let him take it away. So he was forced to go about 2-3 times and come back with this kind of thing. Then he realized, look, I'm very serious about what I was doing. Because the Lord spoke to me.
Yes.
He called me by my name.
Wow.
And now what's in my hand?
Amazing.
I didn't have to see it in the Bible or something. What I mean?
He called you by name.
And then now I
Hallelujah.
gave, and then my wife also was still doubting all of them because of my nature.
Yes.
I'll say something now and I'll go back to the vomit sort of thing. But now, that was the bottom line.
Hallelujah.
I said there's no more drugs,
Hallelujah.
no more tobacco, no more alcohol. I used to get the bottle store, the guys used to come and bring the alcohol.
Yes.
I used to even call doctors sometime, you know, when they come and they give you money, you know, for the medical aid and all this, and
Yes.
just to
Yeah.
get the alcohol.
Wow.
But this was finished up.
Thank you, Jesus.
And then that didn't stop there. I said, okay, what has to go from this house now? Needs to be cleaned. So there were things that we were cultured with, like God lands and all. We said, no, take it out and leave it. And these days, what people will do when they give it, they'd rather go and sell it and turn it into money. But that didn't interest me. Also, although I didn't even have a pair of socks to put in my shoe. You know what I mean? And I wasn't looking as far as money is concerned. So I let it go. Brought the whole thing and left it outside. I said, call the pastor and tell him, take these things away. Right. So that was said, well and done, and that disappeared as well. And so I was really now in the Lord, expecting nothing, just giving myself,
You said to the
totally
Lord,
say, I'm going to be a changed person for you. I love you, and I'm a follower of you.
Amen.
Are we still?
Yeah, you see, yeah, keep it.
Right. I'm a follower of you. I want to love you. So that was.
God bless. Thank you. Yeah, keep it. Yeah.
So on the 10th of December, not far from then, I told the pastor, look, I want to get baptized. He said, no, it's still too early. I said, no. You take us now.
Tell us. Yeah, keep
Right?
coming. Yeah.
You take us now.
Yeah.
So he took us to the river
Yes.
and we got baptized. Right? Because
God was touching you.
Yeah,
Wow.
we got
Thank you, Lord.
baptized. So we got baptized there, and that's where it all started. I believe there's a beginning.
Yes.
I believe going
What
through
a
the watery
testimony.
grave is a beginning.
What a testimony.
Hearing the voice and all is this.
What a
of it.
testimony.
But when you step in,
Yes.
that's you die. You
Yes.
get buried one time, no one sees you.
Yes.
Then you come up, you
Hallelujah.
start a new life.
Hallelujah.
Although now it was 2 weeks or something that I'm out of all this, but this has to seal it. So here am I, walking
Wow.
with the Lord.
Almost 40 years.
Right. And yes, almost 40 years.
Walking with
November
the Lord.
25th. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
So now I gave up alcohol and so on.
Yes.
But it's on the 27th of that month. It was a Monday.
Yes.
I went to my old job where I was working in the bureau. Okay, and we used to drink there most of the time. They had a punch card system. We used to capture data from McCarthy's, you know, the big car safes we've got. And those days the computers were in small laptops and all that. It takes a whole room to process, you know? Right. So we were doing that sort of thing. But that Monday when I went there, the directors of the company left a letter because they couldn't face me. We were together, friends. They said, no, you are fired. So these staff now said, no, we'll wait for them to come. I said, no. God has taken me out
From
of yours.
this.
I'm going because now
Hallelujah.
this is a separation.
A new life.
New
Whoa.
life. Right? Now I'm coming home and the wife is a bit distraught now and saying, hey, you lost your job now. What are we going to do?
Oh, you got a new life.
Yeah, new life.
Hallelujah.
So I said, okay, I got a new life. You know, that is more important to us.
Yes.
So I tried to play her down. Well, she's not going to believe, you know, all these years I've been giving her a hard time.
Yes,
you know, and maybe this is just an excuse from me. But it wasn't an excuse.
No, it was
So
genuine.
so it's genuine.
This
but
time was real.
I knew it, but she didn't know it.
Yes.
They didn't know it. It was going to take a little bit of time. Meanwhile, there's word going around that, hey, this man has said the Lord, he lost his job and all that sort of thing. So anyway, to cut that side of it a bit shorter, so I continued and I had a call from a company called Advanced Promotions. Those people who brought the bacon biscuits and all into this country. And Don Riddell was an Australian and Terry Jones was a British. So they were planning to penetrate the markets in the Natal and Eastern Cape and all that, and they were failing. So somehow God connected them to me. They put a air ticket for me to come up to Johannesburg. It's the first time I ever had a flight. You know, you're talking about a man drunk and going from club to club, and I'm
What a
going
God
up
we
there.
serve.
Right. Come pick me up, take me to Johannesburg in Braamfontein up on the 13th floor and give me 3 options. Say, look, you want to work for us, or you want to be an agent, or you want to open your own business. I said, look, I haven't got the money, and this thing, but I don't want to work for you too. I want to work for myself. You pay me what is due to me. So they gave me some stock and started me off. So I was able to turn this whole Natal and all at that stage to something so massive that we were listed in the stock market. Were taken over by Bill Fenton's group, FinTech, and then I get out on my own. You know, that's another. We'll get back. But coming back to the baptism, which is the union with God. You know, I was baptized in the name of Jesus. I just delighted in my baptism. Then God did a miraculous thing. On that following week after the 10th, and after me coming back from Johannesburg and all, I somehow read in a Tribune there was a car for sale. And I'm not a driver, I was a drunkard and everything, you know. I used to move with the taxis and all that. And here am I, looking at an ad, and I phoned this gentleman. He said, listen, don't you ever joke, eh? Everybody's asking me where I am and no one's turning up because he said this was Blackburn Road. Now, I didn't know there's a two Blackburn Road, one in Radial and one in Manishkam. So I said, no, I'm not joking. I will come. But meanwhile, it wasn't me that's speaking.
Yes.
You see, I believe it's the Spirit, Holy Spirit was speaking. So I went to a friend of mine who had a car, his father's car. When he saw me, he was delighted. His name was John. And I told him, look, I'm going to go and buy a car. He even forgot now who I am, you know, in that state. He said, no problem. I'll come now. Let me get the keys. So he took me and he went for this car. It was a 1976 Chevette, you know, 1978.
Wow.
Yes. Beautiful looking and everything. And the man said, look, if you want to want this car, not asking me whether I got the money, meet me in Harriet House in Field Street. You know, and that time, Santam Bank was a staircase and a small two-room bank. You know, we're talking a long time, you know. And then when I went there, I was in the bureau and all, but now that didn't come up. And they came to me about 2.5 hours later, said, Mr. Reddy, car is yours at 76 Rand, 11 cents a month. Now I haven't even know how to drive, so I phoned another boy, big guy. I said, and he comes with his jacket. You know how they got the shoes, run against the young American boys, you know, come there, say, where's the keys, where's the keys? Right, and he drives me. While we're driving through the Amsterdam, he says, hey, we got a speed wobble. I don't know about a speed wobble, you see? And he tells me this. So I said, okay, what do we do? He said, no, I'll park the car by my house, which was across, and now I'm renting down. I said, fine. So Wednesday, we go to church. He's not coming into the church. He sits there as a chauffeur. So I go, I'm telling God, you give me the car. And here's a man now, supposed to be my driver now, and now you don't want to come here. Oh Lord, please, man, do something. I need this man here. Yes. But anyway, on that Saturday, right, I'm walking towards his house. Now, he wasn't there, and his sister says, did you come for the car? I said, yes, I came for the car. So she gives me the key. So I'm reversing the car. You know when you first get there, you jack it to the thing. I found myself on the road. And when my wife and all the other they never came out. No one came out. I'm not a driver. I jacked the car. I went round, and I met my dad. He's living in the corner. I asked him. He looks at me. He says, everything all right? Are you driving? I said, what? Then I look at him, I ask him a few questions. I said, no, I'm asking the wrong father, don't you worry. I start the car from there, and I went. I even went, I met a young boy, he's late now, and I told him, jump in. He said, no, because he was scared. Then he runs, I see someone tapping my window in the hard. No, I didn't know you can drive. Then he jumps in. I drive a couple kilometers near Mike's house. You know where's Mike's house? They're under the bridge. There's a policeman who knows me, and he's a speed cop, and he even forgot about me, greets me. I'm going to yes, I'm going to a home near Mike's house in Tufts Road. You know that turn you take? I go there, they even forgot. It's a cousin of mine. They say, hey, look, you came here because we're waiting for someone to take us to Malacca Road, and no one stand up. They all jump in there, about 5 of them jumping through the car. I take them, I've been driving the last.
Pastor, your testimony touched people's lives. Just before we leave you here, look at this camera here. There are pastors now who are about to give up the ministry. You're tired of what they're doing. For over 40 years, you've been doing the work of the Lord. What will you say to people encouraging that it's not time to give up, but time to push on?
Well, look, you know, the Holy Spirit is somebody that's been lightly taken. You know, everybody's talking in the Spirit, in my case, I must be clear to you. I was invited once to minister in my early days, to ladies, you know, a hot day like this, not even a leave. So while I was just going there, the Holy Spirit came down like that, lifted me a couple of centimeters off the floor, and